The mountains have always held a special place in my heart. There's something about the crisp, clean air, the towering peaks, and the sense of freedom that comes with being surrounded by nature that draws me in time and time again. So when the opportunity arose for a weekend getaway to a ski resort nestled in the heart of the Rockies, I didn't hesitate to pack my bags and hit the road. The drive up to the resort was nothing short of breathtaking. As I wound my way through the winding mountain roads, snow-capped peaks rose up on either side of me, their majestic beauty leaving me in awe. With each passing mile, I could feel the stresses of everyday life melting away, replaced by a sense of excitement and anticipation for the adventures that lay ahead. Arriving at the resort, I was greeted by the hustle and bustle of skiers and snowboarders gearing up for a day on the slopes. The air was alive with the sound of laughter and chatter, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement as I unloaded my gear and made my way to the lifts. The first day on the slopes was nothing short of magical. The sun was shining, the snow was fresh, and the trails were calling my name. I spent the day carving through powder, pushing myself to go faster and higher with each run. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the mountains, I reluctantly made my way back to the lodge, already counting down the hours until I could hit the slopes again. As the evening wore on, I found myself drawn to the idea of exploring some of the more secluded trails. So with my skis in hand, I set out to discover what hidden treasures the mountain had to offer. Little did I know, however, that this decision would lead me to an encounter that would change my life forever. As I made my way through the dense forest, the world around me seemed to grow quieter, the only sound the soft swish of my skis against the snow. It was peaceful, almost eerily so, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of calm wash over me. But that calm was short-lived. As I rounded a bend in the trail, I caught sight of something that sent a shiver down my spine. Standing amidst the trees, bathed in the soft light of the setting sun, was a creature unlike anything I had ever seen before. Its fur was thick and matted, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intelligence. It was a Yeti. For a moment I was frozen in place, unable to tear my eyes away from the creature's piercing gaze. Fear gripped me in its icy embrace, paralyzing me with its intensity. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end as every instinct screamed at me to run. And run I did. With a surge of adrenaline, I turned and fled, my heart pounding in my chest as I raced through the forest, the sound of my own panicked breaths echoing in my ears. Branches whipped at my face, roots snaked out from the underbrush, but I paid them no mind, driven by the primal instinct to survive. I didn't dare look back, afraid of what I might see if I did. I ran until my legs felt like they would give out beneath me, until my lungs burned with exertion and my heart felt like it would burst from my chest. And then finally I burst out of the trees and into the open expanse of the resort, gasping for breath and trembling with fear. As I collapsed onto the snow, the cold seeping into my bones, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. The memory of the creature's piercing gaze haunted me, filling me with a sense of dread that lingered long after the adrenaline had faded. From that day on, I couldn't bring myself to venture into the forest alone again, haunted by the memory of the creature that lurked in its depths. The mountains, once a place of solace and serenity, now held a darkness that I couldn't shake. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, there was also a sense of awe, the knowledge that there are still mysteries in this world, still wonders waiting to be discovered. And though I may never fully understand what I saw that day, one thing is certain: it was an experience that would stay with me for the rest of my days. As the days passed after my encounter with the Yeti, I found myself consumed by a sense of unease. The memory of that towering figure lurking amidst the trees haunted my every waking moment, casting a shadow over even the most mundane of activities. No longer did I find solace in the mountains. No longer did I feel the pull of adventure that had once drawn me to the wilderness. Instead, I found myself plagued by nightmares, each one more vivid and terrifying than the last. I would find myself back on that secluded trail, the air thick with tension, the forest alive with unseen eyes watching my every move. And then, just as before, I would catch sight of the Yeti, its massive form emerging from the shadows with a roar that echoed through the night. As the weeks turned into months, I found myself withdrawing further and further into myself, unable to shake the feeling that I was being watched, that the creature was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I became paranoid, jumping at the slightest sound, unable to relax, even in the safety of my own home. It wasn't until years later, long after I had left the mountains behind and tried to move on with my life, that I finally found the courage to confront my fears. Armed with nothing but a camera and a sense of determination, I returned to the place where it all began, determined to capture proof of the creature's existence once and for all. But as I stood on that secluded trail, camera in hand, I couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation creeping over me. What if the creature was still out there, waiting to finish what it had started all those years ago? What if I was walking into a trap, lured back to the mountains by some unseen force? But despite my fears, I pressed on, driven by a need to uncover the truth, to put an end to the nightmares that had plagued me for so long. And then, just as I was about to give up hope, I saw a shadowy figure emerging from the depths of the forest, its eyes gleaming in the dim light. With trembling hands, I raised my camera and snapped a photo, capturing proof of the creature's existence for all the world to see. And as I stood there, staring into the eyes of the Yeti, I realized something. Despite the fear and uncertainty that had consumed me for so long, I had finally found closure. From that day on, I was able to put the nightmares behind me, to reclaim the sense of adventure and wonder that had once defined me. And though I may never fully understand the mysteries of the mountains, I know one thing for certain: the Yeti is out there, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to seek it out.